Hi, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk About Graduate School. We're just going to run through pretty quickly today, just a little bit about the applications and how to do your research on the schools that are most appropriate for you. So let's get started. You each have a career coach. So depending on what college you are assigned to, if you're a double major, you have access to both of us. My name is Brooke Smart. I'm the career coach for Arts and Sciences. If you are in the Oxley College of Health Sciences or interested in a pre-health profession, you would go to Dr. Cassandra Crawford-Sigler. If you're in engineering or natural sciences, Chris Wong is your career coach. And if you are in the business college, Tom Trimble is the business career coach. So just real quick, things we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about finding the graduate school for you, personal statements, letters of recommendation, and mock interviews, all key elements to finding that best fit grad school for you, and then also what you need to do in order to prepare the best application as possible. So finding the school is all about the fit. And so depending on what kind of program you're looking for will obviously determine some of those things. But if you're looking at a program that's offered at a variety of schools, it's really important that you make sure it's a good fit for you. So let's talk a little bit about what that means. So things to consider in finding your fit. You want to take inventory of your passions and motivations. Make sure you understand your why. You want to know what you hope to achieve by, again, entering into this graduate program. And then 2, you want to challenge yourself. So challenging versus more manageable if you are working with something that managing is something that matters to you. So if you're thinking about, it's a really tough program, but maybe it'll be a good fit for you because it's something that you're really interested in. I can tell you from my perspective, going to grad school was a lot of fun because it was classes very targeted towards the things that I was interested in versus undergrad where you're having to fill in some classes here and there. So that is something to look forward to. As far as exploring your options and doing your homework, you want to make sure you do your research on these programs. You know, there's a lot of different programs across the country at a variety of universities. You want to make sure you find that's the best fit for you. So structure and focus the program can vary amongst the schools. So you want to make sure you explore that. And then use your network. Professionals in the industry and alumni of that program, you can connect with these people, whether it's on LinkedIn or other places, and figure out, hey, tell me a little about this program. What were the things you wish you would have known before you got in? All of that is really helpful. Just trying to figure out if it's a good spot for you or not. And then the next piece is considering your career goals. If it's a specialized area of focus, you want to make sure that you check out the program's concentration. So you want to make sure that it has an area to focus that is very specific to what you're interested in. Okay. If you're unsure, keep it broad. You have the flexibility in your application and your degree in your future opportunities. So you want to make sure that you keep your options open. The next piece would be to check the credentials that you would like to have coming out. This is really important. If you need specific certifications to do the things that you want to do within your career, you want to make sure that grad school program is going to get you prepared for that, or at least put you on a track where if there's different certification tests you need to take, that you are ready to go. And then the next piece is make sure you know your next steps. What do you need to do next? Okay. The next piece is making sure that program fits your lifestyle. So what's the level of time commitment? Is it year round, or is it a typical schedule where you have a couple of semesters, or is it mini semesters? Is it 12 months? Is it several years? You want to know that difference too. You also have the option of full-time versus part-time versus online. So depending on how quickly you want to progress through the program, you want to make sure you know what kind of options you have there. And then what kind of outside commitments are you going to have, one from a personal side, but also what are they going to require you to have? So is it something that's going to require you to have an internship? What does that look like? What kind of time commitment? So ask those questions ahead of time. That way you go in fully aware of what you're looking at. The next piece obviously is financial. You want to make sure that you consider your finances in this decision. It's kind of a big decision. So what can you afford? What are the upfront costs, tuition, textbooks, hidden fees, what else is out there? And then the next piece is financial aid. So figuring out what you qualify for financial aid wise. Are there scholarships, loans, grants, or assistantships or fellowships? Any of those can be really helpful. You just want to, I always would encourage you to talk to someone about really considering what it looks like if you have to go into taking out some student loans. So if you ever have questions about that, make sure you talk to Dr. Barthelus here, or any institution should have some kind of financial wellness consultant. So, okay, the next piece is talk to the admissions advisor, students and alumni. So you can talk to current students in the program and or alumni. And these are some great questions to ask. Do you have enough academic and career guidance What do you like and dislike about your program? Are you happy with your professors? How do you feel about the student community? What do you wish you knew before enrolling? All of these great questions. It's just a place to get you started. Again, this kind of falls back into that same networking conversation. You're looking to ask a question and then letting them kind of talk a little bit. All right, last two for things to consider. Focus on the faculty. This is, I think, the biggest piece about finding a grad school that's a good fit. So if you are focusing on faculty, they will make or break your experience. So you want to make sure you reach out. Does their background align with where you want to go? So a lot of these faculty who are teaching in these master level programs and beyond are doing some kind of research. You want to make sure that you are interested in what they are doing research on. A lot of programs are looking to connect you to some faculty member, and they will kind of choose their class accordingly based on who connects with who and spreading that out a little bit. So if you can find a faculty member that you really relate to or you're excited about their research, that's going to help propel you in the application process because they see that you've already done the research and you found the connection that you would really like to make and someone to partner with. And so like this says, looking for one or more professors focused in your area of interest. This is key. You need to know if someone at that school in that program is doing the work you want to do or close to it. Okay. And then the next piece is it a stepping stone? So moving in the direction of your personal and professional goals, it's not a final destination. So again, grad school is helping propel you. It is not necessarily the end of your journey by any means. You can continue on to get your PhD. You could continue to go straight into the workforce. You have a lot of options. So make sure that it's propelling you forward. What you don't want is to put in this extra time at school and then feel like it didn't necessarily progress you anywhere as far as your career goes or what your journey is going to head to. So make sure that it's pushing you forward. Make sure that it's tracking your interests. Make sure you connect with a faculty member. It's going to be really, really helpful. Okay. A big piece of grad school applications is personal statements. So we're just going to hit on some of the pieces that can be really important for this. I've got a sample in here for us to kind of run through as well. So it'll help you a little bit. Again, for this, I know I'm going kind of quick, so feel free to pause if you want to take notes or screenshot or anything like that. Okay, so you're going to start with who you are. You only get one chance to make a first impression, so you want to make sure that you make a good one. Questions to help you kind of answer this. Who are you? Question. Who are you beyond the numbers and the resume? So kind of giving them a background of what's the reason you got to where you are and kind of what defined that. Why should they pick you? How am I going to capture their attention and keep them reading? So you need an attention getter, which sometimes is going to be tough, but sometimes it can be really fun. And then what's going to make me stand out? I really feel like these personal statements are a lot about making these people feel like they are in your shoes. So whoever might read your personal statement is going to feel like they have a pretty good taste of who you are and why you are passionate about trying to get in this program. And so if you can sell someone on that who's not connected to that program, then for sure it's going to help make that connection for those people there. So, okay, finding your why. So there are lots of different things that you can look at for this process. So the what is what led you to furthering your education. The why is why did you pursue this experience, and the how is how did you feel during this experience. Put them in the moment. Okay, so you're trying to figure out how can I answer these questions. It's going to make someone feel like they're in my shoes, right? So accomplishments help. So what have you accomplished and learned in the process? Experience. How has your experience affected you and those that interacted with and those that you interacted with? And then influence. How did your experience influence your decision to pursue this degree? So again, you are figuring out what led you there, why that experience, how did it make you feel, what were the accomplishments that you achieved, how has your experience affected you, and how did that experience influence your decisions moving forward? Again, these are all questions. They're kind of like prompts to help you moving forward. Every school is going to have a different type of prompt, so you just have to keep an eye on that. Okay, so skills, talents, and unique qualities. These are all things that you can highlight within the personal statement. So you want to make sure they know what you bring to the table. So advocate quality and growth. So why are you the ideal candidate for this program? I feel like this is a part of every single school's personal statement guide prompt. They want to know why you. And so again, it's kind of a chance where you get to go sell yourself. For me, I relate it back to being recruited to come to college. And what did I have to do to get those coaches' attention to get me here? The next piece is qualities. So identify your greatest qualities and highlight times you have demonstrated them with concrete examples that tell a story. So use the XYZ method. So for example, you accomplished X as measured by Y by doing Z. Again, so you can kind of fill in the blanks. So you accomplished this goal that we measured by this, this, and that, and it was by doing this in the process. And it will help you kind of sell that story. Anytime you can incorporate numbers, it always helps. It helps sell your story. The next piece is growth. So you want to provide evidence of experience and growth. So again, depending on what kind of grad school you're applying for, whether it's the med school route or whether you're going to, let's say, a clinical psychology program, you want to make sure that you can provide some experience that you've been in it a little bit. You've gotten a taste of it, even if it's not you led it, just that you've been a part of it and that you kind of have an idea of what the expectations are, but you want to show that you've grown through that experience. Okay, and so then next is wrapping it up. So questions to consider. Why do you want to be a doctor or go to law school or pursue that specific program? Why that school? And what do you hope to achieve? Okay, those are really good questions to answer. The next piece, again, research the school, the faculty, and the program. Goals, you want to discuss how any of the above match your future goals, and then restate your passion. Succinctly restate your passion for X and how you are a good fit for their program. So again, if you can find ways to connect that school's mission or vision, or maybe that program's mission or vision, that helps as well. Any ways you can show that you do the research to help you stand out, it's going to be really helpful. Okay, so these are the do's of your personal statement. So some general advice, make sure that you answer the question you're being asked. So every school's application is a little bit different. You want to make sure if they ask you a specific question that you be sure to answer that within your personal statement. Pay attention to the small details such as word counts or character count limits. These are really important. Some schools are really strict on this. So if you are given a guideline for that, you need to make sure that you abide by it. And then the next piece is find your angle and tell a story. Like, again, you have to think about it like the more you can share a part of your experience within a story, it allows the reader to be in your shoes. And so that's going to be a really key element to this. So a few things for the do's: research requirements, pay attention to the prompts that you are given for your personal statement, like what we talked about before, use professional tone, make sure you respect the formality of the situation, but also don't get so formal that it doesn't feel like it's you anymore. Be unique. So choose a topic that is special to you. How will you stand out from grades and test scores? That's important. Anybody can apply with just grades and test scores and hope for the best, but they want to know a little bit about you. What about your character sets you apart? What about your experience? What about your background? Be specific. Be clear about why you want to attend that specific institution. This is key. Identify that professor. You've done the research, let them know. Proofread. This is where you can leverage our office or the writing center. So you want to make sure you check the relevance, the tone, the grammar, the punctuation, and the spelling. All of that is hugely important. The last thing you want is to write a great piece and then not have someone proofread it for you, and then you get eliminated because of simple mistakes. And then the last piece, be relevant. Write about experiences that are related to that program study. So any way that you can connect yourself back to that program or why you want to be connected with it is going to be key. The don'ts. So we would tell you to try to avoid controversial topics and avoid cliches. You don't want your personal statement to be a repeat of your resume. So make sure you go into detail about an example, about an experience. You might just choose one that really highlights you to the best of your abilities. Don't assume that you're getting in everywhere that you apply. It's not likely. I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but there's a reason why we tell you to apply to multiple schools, because we want to make sure that you have the best chance of getting in and having some options potentially. You don't want to come off preachy. So make sure that you don't come off as a know-it-all. Try to avoid those controversial topics. Quotations. This is not a place to quote from other sources or people. Again, this is a personal statement. It's it's you. So if you are going to quote anyone, it should be you, which you're writing the paper, so you shouldn't have to quote it. So try to avoid that. High school, we try to tell you to avoid that unless it's highly relevant. I can give you an example of one student who did use a little bit of their high school experience, but it was a lived experience that they had with their family as a reason why they wanted to go to medical school. And so they use that to make that connection of why it was important for them to get into medical school and be able to live through that experience and kind of come full circle in that moment. So be thoughtful about it. It would be the key thing I would say. And then try to stay away from cliches or gimmicks. You know, again, this is personal and you want to find that personal connection. So any way you can do that, make it happen. Okay, here's some sample formatting. It's broken down by paragraph. It's not super long, but it'll give you a few examples. So again, we're hitting on all schools are unique and the length requirement vary. This specific outline may not suit the expectations of your program, so adjust accordingly. So they start out with paragraph 1, you're clearly stating your purpose on what inspired it. In the PhD program in social psychology at Miami University, I want to study at the intersection of X and Y. This interest stems from, and then fill in the blank, okay? It gives them a connection. Paragraphs 2 and 3. So you're going to draw on specific scholarly work you've completed and be specific in detailing your project. In the Young Scholars Program at your undergraduate institution, so the University of Tulsa, I conducted research on blank. Now, again, it may not be so focused on scholarly work. Maybe it is a personal life event that has connected you to this, but you want to make sure that you are finding the connection. Okay, paragraph 4, touch on scholarly and professional opportunities at the institution to which you are applying and how you can contribute to standing programs. Example, working in a lab, the counseling center, a research institute, a teaching assistantship. I am drawn to professional development opportunities in your program, particularly the possibility of assisting with scholarly and administrative projects as a research fellow. You could also highlight here that you are particularly excited about getting to partner with Professor X and their work that they're doing on blank. Okay, so it's a chance again for you to highlight that research that you've done and show that because of your experience, you would really like to get plugged in there. Okay, and then closing it up, paragraph 5 says conclude with a specific project or research avenue you may want to explore, and if appropriate, whom you would like to work with. Though your work is unique, make it clear how you can benefit this program and how the program can benefit you. Remember, you will be an advocate for the program you will join, so demonstrate you care about it. I am excited at the possibility of working with Professor X and learning more about her commitment to X area of study. Okay, so again, making that connection. Anywhere you can show that you did your research is going to help. Okay, so in our office, we have 3 people that we typically draw to for personal statements. So Cassandra Crawford Sigler focuses a lot on the pre-health professions and medical school students. So if that is something you're looking in, she is a great resource. If you're thinking law school, Christy Caves spent 10 years in the career services office in the TU College of Law. So she's a great resource to tap into. You can also schedule appointments with her in Handshake. So if you select the College of Arts and Sciences, there is a pre-law coaching appointment you can select on. And then also myself, you know, I've gotten some practice with a lot of the psychology students working on different grad programs, but also anthropology and a variety of other majors. So come see us. We're here to help. You can get to just about any of us. You can get to Cassandra by selecting pre-health advising or pre-health coaching, again, to Christy with the pre-law. And then since all of you are in arts and sciences, you can get to me just by selecting arts and sciences. And then I believe it would be develop skills. It would be your appointment type you would click on. So who are your resources? Obviously our office in CaneCareers, we are a big resource for you for this, but then also the Writing Center. I would encourage you to take advantage, have somebody put some eyes on it, that's what they do. Anything and everything, grammar, spelling, punctuation, the flow, what kind of tone comes off. I would also encourage you, you can always download an app called Grammarly. I think students get a discount, if not for free, so you might check that out. But that can be really helpful also. So just things to think about. You can visit this website and schedule an appointment with the Writing Center. You are welcome to email our main line. It'll get distributed to the appropriate person. So letters of recommendation are a big piece of your applications, depending on what kind of school you go to. So we're going to talk about the who, the when, and the how. So numbers of letters and requirements. So first, research. Is it 3 letters? Is it 4 letters? Is it 5 letters? Check with each program that you're applying to. It does make a difference. There are variations. You want to make sure you know how many you need and by when, okay? Committee versus letter packets versus individual letters. You need to know what kind. So I know I can give you some background. The med school students, there is a committee that they have to put their information in front of that sends them a letter of recommendation. That's a piece of that is a component of their application. And not every program requires that. That's really the only one that I know of on campus. So you want to make sure you know what that specific program is looking for. And then I would always encourage you to have more than you need. You never know who might run into some kind of family emergency, or with COVID, I feel like anything is possible at this point. So make sure that you have some extra letters being requested from professors or just connections that you have. So how to choose your recommendation writers. So I would always say faculty is huge. So if this was tailored towards the med school application, you've got the sciences, so biology, chemistry, physics, and math. You've got non-science, so any arts, humanities, and social sciences. I think as a student in arts and sciences, if you are not looking at med school, you would just choose faculty you feel like could speak to your academic experience, and then possibly to your character or work ethic. So the next piece of this is developing good relationships. The more you can work on this now, the easier it is to make the ask later. So make sure you attend some office hours, ask questions after class, volunteer for opportunities. It's going to help you stand out. They will help that professor remember you. Also, the beauty of being at TU is that you have some smaller classes and those faculty tend to get to know you a little bit better. And then the next thing is be sure that recommender can speak to your strengths. So highlight your skills and abilities that will make you an excellent candidate for medical school or whatever school it might be. Okay, grad school, anything. Just make sure that you put them in a good spot to really talk well and highly of you. Okay, other recommenders. So you could be professionals in that field. It could be a research supervisor. It could be an employer. It could be a volunteer supervisor. Really, you're looking for someone who can speak to your character and work ethic. So if it's not a faculty member that's going to talk about your academics, let's find somebody who can talk about your character or your work ethic. And so any of these would be good fits. Just make sure that you are asking. One of the things that I remember from one of my professors when I was an undergrad, he emphasized was make sure that you ask for a good letter of recommendation. At the end of the day, it is on the faculty to make sure their name is on the line for any letter that they write. So you want to make sure that they're willing to put out a good reference for you. And so making sure that can happen is a key ask. Okay, how to ask. So you can do this in person or you can do it via email. Again, I think this is pretty simple, but visit professors during office hours or catch employers during a break. If the answer is yes, you'll need to provide them the deadline of the application, information on how to submit your letter, your transcripts, your resume, and a personal statement. Okay, any of this helps them speak to what you're interested in, just in case they need a little backup. I know every once in a while it helps just to have a little bit of extra information. If you ask via email, wait for a positive response before sending supporting documents, and then submission details. Okay. I would always tell you to ask in person just because you need that personal connection, but then I would probably follow up with an email like, hey, we talked about this letter of recommendation. I just wanted to follow up with some information. I think that helps a lot. Plus it's another touch on that faculty member or whoever you might be asking. Okay, when to ask for recommendation letters. The ideal time to give the letter writer is anywhere from 1 to 2 months before the letter is due with your submission. Anything less than that is not only poor planning on your part, but can also risk you receiving poor letter of recommendation. I can honestly tell you 1 to 2 months seems like a lot, but when you are talking about having to navigate through classes and faculty doing the same thing, you need to give them that kind of time so that they can really spend some time thinking about what they're going to put into your letter. It's not to say that it doesn't happen that we all get in a crunch. So just if you do get in a spot where you are in a crunch, be as gracious as possible. And remember that your emergency is not their urgency. So be thoughtful of that, be mindful of that, try to work ahead. That's the biggest advice I can give you. Okay, so a couple of recommendation letter don'ts. Don't be afraid to ask for strong recommendation letters. Take time to explain why a letter from the writer would be valuable and important for you in your application. Do not annoy your writers by constantly asking them how the writing process is going. Once your references commit to writing you a letter, be sure to provide them with details for submission. And then do not ask to read your recommendation letter. You should trust the person you choose to write a glowing reference and waive your right to review the letter. I can tell you that for all of the ones I've had to write, I did not provide the student who asked for it a copy of it. And that would be pretty standard in my opinion. Okay, important points. Start early, obviously, right? If you need to have professors or employers write you a letter 1 to 2 months, that's how long you should give them to write it. Okay. Be professional and helpful, provide all the information needed, and then follow instructions and follow up with a thank you note. If you do nothing else for this, please, please, please write a thank you note. Someone's time is more valuable than you think, and you ask them to spend it writing it on you, writing you a solid letter of recommendation. You want to make sure you thank them, even if it's a quick email. That goes a long way. So just make sure you hit on that. Okay, and last but not least, a lot of these programs you're going to have to do interviews for. Not all of them, but some. So we just want to make sure that you're doing what you need to do to make sure you stand out. So again, do the research on the program, know about their mission and vision, know about the faculty, which you've written this personal statement already, so you should know a lot of this. Know what drew you to them. So for instance, why that program? And then practice makes polished. So again, if you did all of this research ahead of time to write your personal statement, then this part should be pretty easy for you to answer. And the rest of it may just be about your experience, different things from your resume. And then run through it. Go practice with your career coach. Go practice with a faculty member. Go practice with somebody that maybe it's a classmate or maybe it's a friend of yours. Go practice with someone so you have a chance to kind of get those nerves out and fine tune that process. All right, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You know how to get a hold of me. You can get to me through Handshake. And if you have any questions, I look forward to seeing them. And if you have questions about grad school or want help doing some research on them, I'm happy to help. So I hope you guys have a great week. And that is it.